The Master Magician. Once upon a time, when the magic was an art that only a few possessed, and even fewer had come close to mastering it, there lived a boy called Oliver, who loved to dream with his eyes open during days and nights alike. Oliver's father was a farmer who had lost all his wealth a few years ago during the Great Famine. Now he toils all day along with his two elder sons in the field, hoping someday he'd be able to recoup his lands that he had mortgaged up to the last inch to save his family during the tough times. And although Oliver was lazy, he wasn't unambitious. He had given up his education because he knew his father won't be able to afford it. That was his sacrifice. His father understood it. His brothers didn't.
Have you no shame to sit with us and eat? You have no contribution in it, and yet you eat like you've earned it.
Enough! He is your brother and my son. Of course, you will never tell him anything. Oliver!
But here's the thing. Oliver had a dream that his brothers could not see. He wanted to become a magician, the greatest at that even. And since the last few years, he had been learning and practicing alone every night.
Hey kids, want to see a trick?
Whoa! But our ball!
Here!
That day, when Oliver reached home, his brothers taunted him as usual.
Oh, here he comes.
Please go to your room, Your Highness. Food will be ready in a few hours. Father, I was wondering if you would come hunting with me tomorrow. I want to show you something.
Sure, son.
So the next day, Oliver and his father set off for the woods. When they reached there, Oliver looked at his father's concerned face.
Father, there is something I want to tell you. I am a magician now and can do wonderful magic with the snap of a finger. Just watch me.
To John's surprise, Oliver snapped his fingers and voila! He turned himself into a hunting dog.
Huh?
He then grabbed a small bag in his mouth and dashed into the forest, while his father stood right there, stunned. Within moments, Oliver was back with his hunt.
Here, Father!
The old man was so happy to see how talented his son was. Happy with their hunt, they turned to leave when...
My, what have you got there?
This was Claudius, the wicked merchant of the town, with whom all the lands and plots of the poor men lay in mortgage. His plan was simple, to rob the poor by helping them at their times of need, but then dropping a huge interest rate on the lent sum so that the poor always remained in debt.
Rabbits, Mr. Claudius. 6 of them. Why, so many rabbits hunted by this dog. Yes, it is something I've never seen before.
The greedy Claudius was so impressed that he immediately proposed to buy the dog. The old man thought for a while and then looked at Oliver. With a smile on his face, Oliver's father demanded an enormous amount for the dog, and surprisingly, the deal was made.
Silly old man. This amount is nothing compared to this hound.
The next day, an elated Claudius went to the forest with the dog to do some hunting, when suddenly the dog made a run and disappeared behind the thick bushes.
Maybe he's already found something. Dog, good doggy, where are you?
Meanwhile, Oliver had changed back to his human self and returned home.
Good job, son. You have made us proud.
But Oliver wasn't done yet.
Claudius is an evil man. We have to find a way to help the others get their lands back.
What do you suggest?
The next day, Oliver turned into a golden hen, and off his father carried him to Claudius's house. The evil merchant was angry to see the farmer at first, but when the golden hen was revealed, his eyes dazzled. Immediately, he agreed to pay a huge sum for it. But when the old man left, the golden hen turned into Oliver, and with a snap of a finger, turned Claudius into a dog.
Off you go now. This is your fate.
What next? Well, Oliver returned to every man their priced lands and money that were under Claudius's captivity. The entire town cheered for him. He became their hero. And the news of Oliver the magician spread far and wide, with every mouth singing his praises and every mind boggled by his abilities as a magician. The lazy son of a farmer, whom no one cared for much, had become their luminary.
Oliver! Oliver! Oliver!
Oliver! Oliver! Oliver!
Whoa! Wow!
Now it so happened, one day, that Oliver set off from his town to travel the world. His travel brought him to a beautiful kingdom, the one that was ruled by the great magician. And call it fate that Oliver's sight fell upon the great magician's daughter, the Princess Magenia. And it was love at first sight.
Who is she? That's Princess Magenia, the daughter of our king, the great magician. She is beautiful. Don't even think about it. It is a strict rule that no man talks to her or even sets foot close to her. If anyone is found to do so, the great magician has him persecuted. So beware.
But beware, he wasn't going to, for he had never felt about someone in his heart so strongly before. Instead, he came up with a plan. He called his father to the kingdom and told him everything. Then he turned himself into a horse, and not just any horse, but a horse with wings. Next, his father went to the palace of the great magician king, who was exultant to see such an atypical horse. At once, he paid a huge sum and bought it from the old man. The old man smiled and whispered his best wishes into the horse's ears.
You beautiful beast. One of its kind. I am delighted to have you as my ride. Come, let's go for, what do I call it? A flight? Woohoo!
Father, what is this wonderful creature? The magician king narrated everything to his daughter, and she at once begged to her father to let her try it once.
Anything for you, my love. Go, have a flight.
As the princess sat on the horse, its wings sprung open, and it leaped into the air and at once was flying. Wow! Together, they flew past rivers and mountains, and Princess in her delight did not realize that she had come far away from home. Wow! What is this place? Thank you. I love it. I have never seen something remotely as beautiful. In her delight, Princess Magenia ran after the butterflies, danced in her shoes, and washed her face with the cold, fresh water. And then it was time to go, as the sun began to make its descent. Woohoo! Excited, the next day, with her father's permission, off she went on the majestic horse again, flying across rivers and mountains. You are amazing, you know that? This time, the horse brought her to another place. one that was more beautiful than the last. Wow! And thus began a beautiful journey. Every day the princess would set off with the horse and visit lands that she had never imagined existed. Yay! What is this? Ah! You take care of me so much! And for the first time after several days, Oliver spoke.
That is because I am in love with you.
What? You can speak? What? Oliver narrated to the princess everything, and you could see her eyes sparkle. You turned into a horse because of me, because my father lets no man near me, and you stayed a horse all this while just to spend time with me? Oh, Oliver, my handsome Oliver, you have won my heart, and it is yours for now and forever. Days passed, and the great magician king began to notice the strange bond between his daughter and the horse. He started to grow concerned.
Your Majesty, love between a human and an animal will be looked down upon. It is not good. Everyone will laugh at you.
What must I do?
Finish the beast.
And so, that evening, the king went slyly to the stable with a sword in his hand. He had decided to take the advice of his council. But when he reached there, he saw that the horse wasn't there, and in its place lay a letter. Dear Father, I have always respected your wish, did what you asked me to, and I will forever respect you. But now I am in love. I have never felt this way before. The one that you think is a horse is a magician. The famous magician Oliver. He posed as a horse all this time to win my love, and Father, he has. I wanted to tell you about this, but didn't know how you would react. And so, with a heavy heart, I am forced to go far away with my life. Stay well, Father. Forgive me.
Oh my God! He is Oliver the magician? The great magician? No wonder he could turn into a flying horse. Even I cannot do that. Oh, my daughter, if only you would have told me once, but it is my fault. I have caged you always. What do I do now? For I really want you to marry you off in a grand wedding, because none other could be as perfect for you as the master magician.
With a heavy heart, the great magician wrote to Oliver's father. When the letter reached him, he too was touched by the emotions of the great magician. Knowing where his son would be, he sent out a word for him. And when Oliver appeared with Magenia, the old man narrated everything to him. What next? A grand wedding, of course. The great magician threw a lavish feast, and everyone from far and wide were invited. People blessed the couple and praised Oliver, who through his will and determination showed that anything is possible. One must never write someone off just because they are different.